Here's a random gaming video from someone in their mid-30s who had a unhealthy obsession with FMV sequences on the PlayStation 1. I was talking to somebody recently about it and it completely blanked my mind that I did at one point obsess over cutscenes in video games, because before the PS1 we didn't really get great ones. You got them obviously on the Super Nintendo with JRPGs, and of course the Sega Mega Drive had some a handful of JRPGs and did have some form of cutscene, but there was nothing, of course, like the FMV sequences that was found on PlayStation discs, with the music and all the flashy. Obviously it's not flashy now, some of it is aged horrifically, but you get my point. It was something new and it added to it, especially as I became a RPG enthusiast, obviously starting with Final Fantasy VII, and then going on then to Grandia and all the other ones coming out around the time. I didn't have a Super Nintendo when I was younger. I had a Sega Mega Drive, so Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy 6 and 4 and all that kind of passed me by until they were released on PlayStation 1 in the Final Fantasy Origins and Anthology collection. That's when I played those ones. But there was just so many games that I can run through now in my head, the FMV sequences which I used to drool over. Some of them that do spring to mind is the intro to Jersey Devil, for example, a game which I think I would love to see a HD remake of that. With just some better mechanics and level design and a much better camera, that would be great. But Jersey Devil is one example. Of course, all the FMV sequences in Final Fantasy 7, 8 and 9. There's just so much. Like, the Metal Gear Solid is pretty much majoritively a cutscene, which is great. I love Metal Gear. The Metal Gear Solid games are within my top 10. I smush them all together. Kind of a cheat, but they are definitely within my top 10 games of all time. But there was just something about them, and every time my friends would talk to me about a new video game that they were playing, I would ask them if it had these cutscenes. I said, has it got any cutscenes in it? Is our story? Is there something to dig your teeth into? A lot of them did look at me like I was a little bit weird. For good reason, I suppose, now, looking back with hindsight. But there was just nothing like it, and you probably heard a lot of other older gamers like myself say that there has never been a jump like there was back in 96, was it, when PS1 came out? From that jump from 16-bit to 32-bit, it was huge. It was massive. I think it's 32-bit. Or is it 64-bit? I can't remember. I obviously Nintendo 64 is for the 64-bit. I think PlayStation is 32. I think. I don't know. I'm not a gaming expert, and I can't be asked to research it. So please, if you're there in the comments and you're one of those I'm actually people, please actually me in the comments and let me know if it is 32-bit. That would be great. But there are so many other games. There was obviously the Resident Evil games, which has some cool cutscenes in it. There was the Parasite Eve games. Of course, we only got Parasite Eve 2 over here in the UK because they thought, wow, they don't need the context of the first one. Let's just release the second one. Smart move there, Square Enix. There is also Silent Hill. I'm currently playing through Silent Hill on one of my retro handheld gizmos. Completely legit, Konami, by the way. It's totally legit. Nothing shady going on there whatsoever. But then if you was to bring Silent Hill to the masses now, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it. You know, there may be a video coming out ranting about that. Where the bloody hell is Silent Hill? Well, that's a story for another time, of course. But there's just so much. The FMV sequences were they would just have me enthralled. Like the intro to Jade Cocoon, the cutscenes I got in Grandia. Of course, the gameplay engine cutscenes that primarily took over during these games, because of course these FMV sequences took up a lot of space on the disc. But I liked watching those, and I was waiting for the next story segment, the next part where it was just like watching a cool anime or a movie. That was pretty cool. But then when those big flashy, better graphics FMV sequences come on, man, that was good times. Of course, now we are spoilt with graphics for the most part, of course, and you know, it's kind of grown numb to it now. But you've got to understand, you've got to be there at the time. that how far advanced those cutscenes felt. It was just so damn cool. But I don't know, I thought I'd make a video. Maybe there's other gamers out there like myself who lorded over those FMV cut sequences. There might be, there might not be, I don't know. Might just be weird and on my own with that one. But please let me know down in the comments if any of this is, relevant to you. And was there anything that really struck your eye at any point about gaming during your childhood? Unless obviously you're a child now, which I suppose is what is happening in current events. So live service games and battle passes mainly. But as always, thank you very much for watching.